Miami Hurricanes improved to 8-2 on the season with a 41-7 win over NC State. Just completely dominated on both sides of the ball. It started off fast for the Hurricanes. Defensively, Jacoby Thomas added to his impressive senior season. 2 big interceptions in the first quarter. The 60-yard interception return, and as Coach Cristobal said after the game, he felt like that really just kind of opened things up. It gave Miami a 10-0 lead and really never looked back from there. Offense got into a good rhythm. I thought Carson Beck did a good job. The high completion percent, the yards were there, the 3 touchdown passes. Malachi Toney catches 2 of them. Threw a nice 44-yard pass to JoJo Trader. He's excited. And then Gerard Pringle Jr., the freshman running back, shows some burst. We saw it last week, but he gets another opportunity, not as a lead back. This wasn't one where he kind of goes in a little bit later. No, he was the guy out there first, and he responded well. And I thought he looked good. Quick feet. I thought he did a good job in between the tackles, but obviously his best attribute is being able to utilize his speed. So Miami was able to rack up nearly 600 yards of total offense, and NC State was being shut out in the fourth quarter. Finally got a late touchdown. But again, just 150 yards total for NC State, and this was a great game for Miami in terms of, look, I still feel like it's a very difficult path for Miami to earn either a college football playoff berth or even an appearance in the ACC championship game. And I didn't think things went well for Miami in that sense today with how other teams played on both fronts. But even with that said, one of the things I mentioned before the game on the message boards during the game thread was I was really curious to see what the energy was going to be from this team, the excitement level. Yes, there's a glimmer of hope, and I think that's good, but I really wanted to see what this team looked like and how excited they were. This point in the season, sometimes teams do drift off. They do fall, kind of falter down the stretch. We've obviously seen it at Miami in recent years, but they didn't have that. A lot of energy pregame. They looked excited, energetic. I thought that was good. It translated to the game. You saw a lot of guys really, take onus in. This is their final home game of the year. And shout out to the team. They finished 7-1 at home this year, 6-0 last year, so 13-1 in their last 2 years at home. This is exactly what Coach Cristobal wanted. This is something that he wanted to make a point of emphasis when he was hired. They did not win games at that level, not even close to that level the first 2 years, and it kind of led to those bad seasons. And look, I thought that was good in the sense of, they got the home win. They played really well on both sides of the ball. Coach Cristobal felt like it was their most complete game that they've had all season. And so while it might not make the big impact that they were hoping in terms of really rising up the rankings, it was an impressive win and a win that they could be excited about. It's not one of these wins where they do some things well, do enough to score enough points, but I feel like this, because of how they played, they should have a lot of confidence going into their final 2 games on the road at Virginia Tech next week, and then finally wrapping this up at Pittsburgh. So plenty to discuss with those 2 games coming up. But again, just with this defense, I thought they did a really good job with CJ Bailey in terms of applying pressure. It was a point of emphasis of mine that I felt like it was important for this team based on Bailey's, the big difference between when he has been kept in a clean pocket as opposed to pressured all season long. And I thought Miami's defensive line did a good job of applying pressure, making it difficult for CJ, who was clearly excited about this game coming back home. But look, Miami put a quick end to all of that. The pass deflection early on in the game, I think kind of, made it known, look, the defensive backs are going to be out here and make things difficult on the passing attack, defending the pass. And then Jacoby, with those interceptions, those were not easy picks. And again, that touchdown was huge. And to make a big play like that, I think it was certainly big. And Jacoby's been doing this all season long, whether it's the 2 fumble recoveries, the 2 forced fumbles. Now he's got 4 interceptions on the year, the 4 pass breakups. So a guy with tackles for loss, he's got 3 sacks. So he's making a lot of big plays there at safety, and I think he's really going to be one of these guys. He could be an all-ACC first-team guy based on the numbers he's put up, and because Miami's defense as a team, it continues to lead the ACC in points allowed as well as yards allowed. So highly impressive performance from Jacoby and the rest of the guys, even though there were some injuries, some key guys out on the defensive side of the ball. And then flipping it back to the offense, one thing that Carson said in his post-game interview afterwards, just got done wrapping up with that, he was, he talked about his injury and just feels like he hasn't really talked a ton about it, but said like it's taken a little bit of time for him to feel comfortable and being on the field, based coming off his injury there with the elbow surgery last season, also being comfortable in Shannon Dawson's offense. So maybe we'll see even a better Carson Beck these final 2 games, and then depending on after that. But I thought that was interesting to hear him say that. I think too that the guys are, seem to be a little bit looser right now. You're seeing the play calls in terms of some of these trick plays. Again, the Malachi Tony pass, and then Carson making sure he finds Malachi, in the end zone. Great to see Malachi get in there, and he certainly have a lot of fun. And him and Gerard, 2 freshmen. So I think it's good. I think this team's got, kind of good energy right now. Once again, even though things might not look as good as they would certainly like, with the playoff potential, as well as getting to Charlotte. And again, with the ACC standings, Georgia Tech got a big win, and Virginia got a big win today. Both of them go to 6-1, with just 1 game remaining. Miami's obviously with those 2 losses, but certainly they're going to need those teams to lose in front of them if they want to be able to have an opportunity to play for an ACC title, which at this moment in time certainly looks unlikely. So what does today mean moving forward? I think it's a good question to ask, because I know people are excited about this win, but really these 2 games on the road, and Coach Cristobal mentioned, look, it's just different playing on the road, and the results have showed that. Certainly it's more difficult to play on the road, even at Virginia Tech, a team that has not had a great season. Pittsburgh's been getting those wins, so you're looking at that one, but I do think it'll be a challenge. Playing on the road at Virginia Tech, you got to be able to take all this and everything there, and we'll see how it looks for game day then. But I think for Miami, I think this, again, I mentioned earlier, this was just such an important game, an important result for a lot of players to feel good, both sides of the ball to feel good about their performance. And they have a chance to win these next 2 games, and we'll see how everything works out after that. But from where they've, kind of the disappointment with those losses, to be able to have this potential to end the season strong, I think is good, even if it might not, shape out the way that they would like. So I think certainly they can use today's performance on both sides of the ball moving forward, and I think that's what you're looking for anytime down the year, anytime in November. You want to be able to carry over some momentum, some positive things that are going well into the next game. And I definitely think Miami can do that. So that's going to wrap everything up for me. Again, just wanted to say it was certainly a good win for Miami. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this game? What do you think about this win? Are you still really disappointed from those 2 losses and feel like Miami really squandered its chances? And I definitely understand that. So maybe it is hard to get excited about a win like today, but we'll see. Drop in the comments below. I want to thank everybody for your support all season long. It's been fun doing these reports here at Hard Rock Stadium and elsewhere, but definitely want to thank everybody for watching. Have a good rest of the day, and take care.